if you want to become somebody who runs their own business, then you must be willing to deal with failure. Do something out of the norm at least once a month. Best thing for an entrepreneur, being able to listen to what a client is saying and be able to realize what the client needs and sell it to them. And welcome to the Ethel Cofie Startup School. My name is Ethel Cofie. So to every one of you that is joining us again, you're welcome back to the show. We're sorry we're a little bit late. But for those of you that are new to the show, you are very welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about what the Ethel Cofie Startup Show is not. Ethel Cofie Startup School is not. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what it is. So the Ethel Cofie Startup School is not about, it's not a feel-good motivational program on, you can do it, you can be an entrepreneur, hey ho, that's not what it is about. It's a practical, as you were, MBA on how to start, run, and scale your business. So over the last 3 months, we've been going through different topics around sort of building, first of all, finding a problem to solve, finding your clients, building a unique value proposition, marketing. And this week we're going to go into, so this month we're looking at sales. And so this week we're going to look more into sales and building your sales list or your sales target list, because you need to sell. Otherwise, you just have an expensive hobby, you don't have a business. So before we start, like I always do on the program, if there is anybody who is an entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur, or somebody you know that will really benefit from the program, I would love that you comment their names down in the live video link. If otherwise, you can just share it on your timeline so that other people will be able to partake in the video, and you'll be the cool person that gets to share like a cool video. So thank you for that. Take a minute to do that for us. And then, as we do every week, we have a book. Like you said, I love the Harvard Business Review book. So this book this week is on emotional intelligence, and you'll understand what I'm saying over the next few weeks. So emotional intelligence, about being able to figure out what people mean, be able to have empathy for people. And this is really important in sales, being able to understand people, be able to read in between the lines. So I'll give away the HBR book. What's going to happen if you're a first-time viewer is that you've got to listen through to the full 30 minutes of the show. And then at the end of the show, I ask a question. And now the first person to get it correct will then win the book. So you've got to listen really intently to the very, very end of the show. And then you'll be able to win a free HBR book on emotional intelligence. Right, so last week we talked a little bit about, we started on the conversation of sales, and we talked about persuasion, right, which is really important. The skills of persuasion. How do you get somebody to say yes? A lot of the times when people buy from you, it is more than just the logical decision to buy from you. It might be they like you, it might be how you present your sale. And so we did that last week. And so those of you that didn't listen, you can go onto the YouTube, either the Pulse Ghana YouTube or the Ethel Cofie YouTube, and the videos are there, and you can sort of do a little refresher course. So this week we're looking at creating your sales targets or building your sales list. And it's really simple, right? So the point is, for your business to survive, you must sell. I think we all know this. But you have to be able to sell in large quantities, so that your operational costs, you make a profit after the operational cost. And so one of the things is to be consistent, right? To create a consistent pipeline of sales, so that your company or your organization or your product is constantly growing. So we're going to talk about how to really, start the sales process, how to really start to build your sales process. And so we're going to start with deciding and thinking through what it means to create your customer target. Now, the big question is, who's your customer, all right? Choosing the right customer, to be honest, choosing the right target group, to be honest, saves you a lot of pain and it saves you a lot of work. Because if you're selling to the right people, the people that really do want your product and really do get it, then it's an easier sell and it's easier for you to make your money over time. So on deciding your customer targets, first of all, if you already have some sales, right? So maybe you've done this for about a year, maybe 2 years, so you have some consistent sales. Part of it is for us to identify. So the process I'm trying to take you through now is to help you really be able to drill down and identify the personas, or some call it personas, some call it avatars, whatever it is. The persona of the person that buys from you. And that is going to enable you make a good list of the people to sell to, at least tell you where to go to sell to start with the sales process, right? So if you already have an existing customer base, then like I always say, go and talk to the people go and talk to your customers. The first thing, one of the few things, once you're in front of the customer, the questions you should be asking, this is for people that already have sales. So you've done maybe a one year of sales, you've got a couple of clients, it's not a huge number, but you've got just small trickling in, and you want to sharpen sort of your sales focus. So you're asking questions like, who are my best customers? But you're looking at it by industry, right? So maybe the people that buy from you are maybe in insurance, or maybe they are in the aviation industry, or maybe they're in the manufacturing industry. Is there a really clear line of the people that buy from you by industry? Size of business, maybe it is SMEs that buy from you, or maybe it is large multinationals that buy from you, or it is 16-year-old girls that buy from you, or 30-year-old men. Whichever it is, you've got to be able to sort of really be able to look at your customer base and be able to see trends. Or even, is it what are the business models of those who buy from you? Is it, if you're looking at corporate, and I'm concentrating a lot on people that sell B2B, so business to business, and I'll talk a little bit about B2C, which is business to consumer, but mostly this talk is going to be concentrated on customers, people that sell mainly to businesses, and then we'll put in some sort of consumer bits in there. Location. Maybe all your customers, the people that buy from you, are they all in one location? Are they in one country? Are they in one, are they in one city? That's also important to know in sort of defining who buys from you. Then you can look at demographics. If you're selling to individuals, age, marital status, number of children, disposable income, all that. So what I mean to say is, if at least you've done a year and people are buying from you, you've got to take the time. This is why you've got to collect as much information about your existing customers. You do need to create a relationship with them. You do need to be talking to them a little bit so you get a sense of who they are. Then the next thing you should be asking and trying to identify who really buys from you is, and maybe even ask them, why did they initially buy from you, and then why are they still buying from you, right? So maybe you've got one client that is a recurring client. Why are they still buying from you? It could be that they bought a major product and they just need maintenance, so they buy from you because they would rather not start the whole process, especially in software. If someone has a big, for me, I run a software company, so maybe they buy a big piece of software, and so they come back to you because they're used to using that software. But understand that, right? Understand that that's one of your competitive advantages. Understand, they might tell you, well, we buy from you because we have an existing relationship with you and we prefer dealing with you. That's fine. Take all that feedback. All that is going to help you define who your customer is, what your persona, what's the persona or the avatar, as it were, of the person or the company that buys from you. And then who are you competing against in the marketplace, and which set of customers are they able to take away from you? So that's a good question, right? So There are a lot of competitors for me in the sort of B2B IT strategy custom software space. So a lot of people there. Now the question I would be looking at with my current clients would be, who are the clients that, you know, maybe interacted with me, wanted to do business with me, but went and took somebody else, went and worked with another company. It also helps understand a little bit about more of those who stay with you and those who go away from you, right? All that in helping define better who your customer is. Who used to be your customer is no longer buying from you, and why? Go and ask those questions. Actually, this morning, I sent an email as part of my prep for this. As actually the quite a number of things I was learning. There are about 25 companies that I had talked to at some point during the year that had, you know, gone through the process but didn't buy from us. And so I actually, this morning I emailed all of them. I said, hello, you know, I would love, you know, it's unfortunate we're not able to work together this year. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next couple of years, but I would really love feedback on why we were not appropriate for you, extra. This is important, right? So the more, and, you know, out of those 25, maybe 10 will give you feedback, but that's fine. That will help you sort of, again, define, really sit down and define who is your customer and who is not. So that who your customer is and who is not, they're both important things to know and understand, right? And then, like I said, who almost became your customer and didn't. That's very important. Who and why didn't they become your customer? They started to talk to you and then, you know, they decided not to go with you. Why? Yeah, you need to ask and interrogate and understand that. And then who has referred business to us in the past? Let me, I'll give an example with Dell Technology Consulting. We get quite a number of referrals from banks, right? Which is very interesting, but just as in terms of understanding, so they went to do a bank sale and maybe they wanted to go and they were doing some sort of loan, bank, whatever. And the bank would call us, or someone from that would call us and say, hey, this person needs some sort of software to be able to, you know, better streamline the operational services, and we would go in and have a chat. This is important, right? You need to know, again, in this, your sales pipeline and your sales cycles, all the sort of moving parts. Now, using the answers to these questions, right? This is for people who have existing customers who've done business maybe a year or two and have a little base of customers, and you use those to define who your current customer is, right? Now there's a difference, and people get really hung up on this, and people have their dream customer in mind, right? So I want to sell to, you know, the multinationals that are making, I don't know, $100 million a year. That's your dream customer. But when you look at your list and you really look at your current customer is maybe an SME that makes maybe $500,000 in sales a year. Now the question you have to ask yourself when you really look at you really look at sort of the type of people that are current customers and what your dream customer is do you want to grow further in the direction of the current customer you have, right? Or do you want to still work towards the dream customer? If there are people that already get your product, already understand your product, and they're willing to pay, for at the cost at which you're offering it, or even if it is, and I always say to people, even if it is that you have to lower your price, but you have a larger number of people, excuse me, sorry, you have a larger number of people. Okay, I'm going to need some water. Sorry. You have a larger number of people, it still fix your revenue numbers. So be very, very clear on, these are my current customers. These are people that are important to me. These are the people that buy from me versus these are the people I wish would buy from me. You've got to forgive me. They're bringing water so that I can speak better. So be very, very clear. Who are the people that currently buy from me versus who are the people that in my head that I believe are good for me or I should be buying, and make the decision that do I actually maybe shift a little so I can go after those clients, or do I stay with the people that currently buy from me? You don't want that disconnect, really. You don't really want that disconnect between the people that I believe are my clients and the people that are actually my clients. Otherwise, your sales gets a little bit, fixed, right? So in that, maybe having asked all these questions, you might come back with, okay, the people that buy from me are SMEs that make $500,000 in revenue, might not necessarily have an IT manager, or the people that buy from me are multinationals that have a CIO, a CTO, maybe it's a 150-man business, or is 300-man business. All the questions that you ask will help you really. So it might be 2 or 3 categories, right? 2 or 3 categories of customers. So you might have maybe the top tier clients, which is selling the top. Sell it to them. Sell it to them. Sell it to them. Sell it to them. So we're back from the break, so I could drink some water. Sorry, I had a fit of coughing. Anyway, so going back to what I was talking about, which is basically the answers that you get from your customers and your competitors and the people that are currently buying from you. Use that to really define who your customer is. Why do you need to define your customer? You will find out later, because you use that definition of the customer to be able to make a list of customers, right? So you've got to define that customer properly. So it is, or the people that buy, I don't know, my hair products are women that have natural hair, that are busy, that are busy lifestyles, might be running a business, or might, and they want something quick and easy. That's fine. You understand who they are so that you can go and find them, right? Understanding who the person who is buying from you is, it can help you find more of it. And I'm going back to the points that when you start your business, you have an idea of who your customer is in your mind. You have an idea of who your customer is in your mind. And then, then the people that come to buy from you are different. Might be different from who your potential customer is. That's absolutely fine. Understand that maybe there's a disconnect between what my dream customer is and what my current customer is. And do I want to be growing the bread and butter as we go along and see if I can reach the level of the dream customer? Sometimes you grow with your customers, right? Sometimes you grow with your customers. You start with them, maybe they were, they were SMEs and they were making, I don't know, 300,000, $500,000 in terms of sales. And then as you grow as a business, they grow as a business. And so maybe your dream customer is a multinational that makes, I don't know, $20 million sales a year, right? But you might start with that SME, and over time they grow to that level, and maybe they become your dream customers. But you've got to be very, very clear with who's your current customer versus who's your dream customer. Now, for those that don't have customers at all, so those who have not even, you have a product idea, or you started out, you don't have anybody, then I'll revert back to very, very, I think the third episode, right? The third episode where we really talked about customer validation And that's important. And so if you don't have customers, you've got to do customer validation, which is, again, you have your dream customer in mind. At that point, you're starting with the dream customer. You have the dream customer in mind. Then you go and then be very specific about the dream customer. Maybe I am selling to parents who have kids in kindergarten, right? Be very, very clear, and then go out there and ask them the problem. Ask them about the problem you are trying to solve with your solution. Maybe it is you're doing, I don't know, childcare after, I don't know, childcare after school hours, or it is you are doing a nanny service, or you're doing the Uber of child pickup, you know, like picking children up from school. Maybe that's what your idea is, what your brand is. But you've got to, if you have no customers at that moment, then you've really got to do problem and customer validation. We talked about it in the third, which the problem you're trying to solve. Do the people who you think have the problem, do they really believe it's a problem for them? And are they willing to pay the amount of money you are asking them to pay to solve the problem, right? How is that person dealing with the problem now? Or how are they planning to deal with the problem? And is your solution better? So if you have current class customers, then you're starting from, you know, a better sort of position, but that's fine. If you don't have customers, then you still have to talk to who your idea of your customer is, and then you've got to sort of work yourself sort of up through and understand that. Again, you know, asking, can you tell me the last time you tried to solve this problem? So if it is, and I'm going to use here the example of the Uber pickup service for kindergarten kids. So let's use that as an example. So when is the last time, you could ask a simple question like, when was the last time, you know, you had to be in a meeting, but your child your 3-year-old needs to be picked up from school. And how did you deal with that, right? And they could say, well, I don't know, I got a family member, I got a taxi driver, whichever it is. And would they be willing? And then you might say, oh, my solution is, you know, I have vetted drivers that go and pick up the children and will, you know, stay with them until you come home, extra. Would they be willing? Is that something that's important enough for them that they would be willing to pay for it? So there's a different sort of tactic. If you already have a decent size of, you know, if you've been doing business a year or two and you have, you know, a certain set of customers, versus if you literally are coming, like literally you just put together the service, or you just put together the idea. It's really a different process. Now again, based on that information, you are clearly defined your customer. So at the end of the day, you go and ask 100 potential, you know, parents that have 3-year-olds that are in kindergarten, and then you talk to them, and this seems to be a problem they're willing to pay. So then that's your target market. You understand that that's your target market, and then you create, like someone says, so you create your persona. So maybe your customer type A is, you know, a parent that has a 3-year-old. You know, your parent type B might be, you know, I don't know, a client that has a child that lives farther away from home. Whichever it is, you are really clear in defining who your customers are. Maybe you might have 3 or 4 types of customers, and so write them all down. Now, once you have that list, right? Okay, so let me give you more examples. So if you're in manufacturing, for instance, your clients are the retailers. If you're manufacturing your products, and people don't realize this, yes, there is a client that buys your product at the end of the day to take home, but your first client is the retailer that stocks, or the distributor that stocks in their shop, especially if you don't have your own shop. So you've got to understand that too. And I've mentioned this to a couple of people. In production, you've got to be, manufacturing production, you've got to be very, very careful, because you have 2 sets of customers. So if you are selling, I don't know, puff puffs, plantain chips, like, you know, processed food, whatever it is that you're selling, the person, the retailer or the shops that stock it, they are one set of customers. The person that walks into the shop to buy it is another set of customer, and you've got to be able to label all that. If you are in big ticket sales like I am, like you're in software sales, you probably need to do one-on-one. So now take that persona and come up with your top 100 customers, top 100 people you want to work with. So every quarter, I make a list of 100 companies that I want to sell to. My time is up, wow. My time is up really fast. So we're gonna try and finish this up quickly. I think next week we'll continue. But if you're in like B2B sales like me, then make a list. The 100 companies you want to sell to in the next 3 months. If you're in manufacturing, then make a list. The 100, or honestly, 100 is a good number. Work really through it because you'll not get all those clients. If you're in manufacturing, you need the list of the retailers who carry your products. Make that list. And then you also need the personas of those who will buy. So if you're selling, whatever, processed food, who is the type of person that buys this? Is maybe somebody's out of school that doesn't have too much time to cook or does not want to cook, wants to buy your processed food and go and eat at home. That's another set of customers, and that defines your marketing. But because it's mass market, you have 2 customers. The person who carries it in their shop to sell for you and the person that actually buys it. And you can't make a list of the people that walk in, but you can make a list of the retailers. And then the personas of people that buy, you can actually determine, or you can actually sort of plan your marketing campaign. So digital marketing and things around those type of people. If you're in a mass market product, then you must make sure that your persona is so clear that when you go and market, like, where do you find parents of kids under 5 years old or 3 years old? Maybe a PTA meeting. Where do you find retailers? It might be a cooperative group. Where do you find the people you sell to? Make that list. I'm always making a list. There's always Excel sheets. I'm always getting my team to, always find emails, phone numbers, name of CEO, name of CTO, CIO in the company. Always have a list. Do it every quarter if you must. Do it. Some people do it every month, but do it so that have that list and work through that list. And next, we'll have to continue this next week. But what I was going to talk about was then identifying your sales tools, the sales tools to attack, right? To attack and implement. So now have a list. You have a list of 100 people you're going to sell. So you're armed with that list. How do you then begin to reach out to them? And that I think we're going to do next week because my time is up. So next week I'm going to go through 11. Next week we're going to talk about the sales tools, marketing automation, face-to-face sales, references, digital sales, social media digital sales, email sales, networking. We'll talk about that next week. And the book. So the book on emotional intelligence. So the person that can answer for me 2 questions to ask yourself if you have existing customers and you want to be able to create, your customer list or your customer personas. So 2 questions to be asking yourself. So answer that, and whoever answers it first gets to win and pick up the book. So thank you for hanging out with me this week. If you want to reach out to me, I thank you for a lot of messages on LinkedIn and Twitter this week. So thank you very much for all the stories of how I'm helping you grow. So I'm very excited to hear that. If you want to reach out to me, I'm www.ethelcofie.com. There is I created like a 10-week entrepreneurship course with all the videos and things. So if you can sign up for that, if you go on the page, there's a pop-up, you can sign up for that. You'll get like an automatic email every week. I love marketing automation. I'll talk about it next week. If you want to reach out to me, Twitter or Instagram is @EthelCofie. LinkedIn, Ethel Cofie. Facebook, Ethel D. Cofie. You can leave me a message if there's something that if you have a question or there's something that you want me to speak about. So it's helping shape sort of all the things, something you want me to speak about. Please don't just reach out. There is a WhatsApp group too. There are now 155 people in the WhatsApp group. It's amazing, eh? 155 people, and every Thursday, what happens is I actually share the write-up of what I'm going to share on the Thursday afternoon in the morning at 10 o'clock on that WhatsApp group, and there's more sort of conversations there. So if you go on my Twitter, which is Ethel Cofie, you'll see the link to the WhatsApp group. I think there seems to be a lot of fun then. People are sharing business links there, so feel free to be part of it. So thank you for hanging out this week. I will see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Sell it.